Hello.
Great. Hello. Hi, Dennis. How are you this morning? What's going
I'm
on?
amazing, Maribeth. How are you? I have a funny story. I did somebody reached out a couple days ago. A friend of a friend wanted to talk to me about like life and what I do online and Substack and LinkedIn and all these things. And I said, I can have a walking meeting on Friday morning. So I just spent an hour consulting with somebody while I was walking. It was really cool.
I like that. It's very Steve Jobs of you because he was
Yeah.
known for his walking meetings all over the campus of Apple. So I love that. And welcome to Cappuccino and Connections. I see that you have whatever your favorite drink. Mine is I'm just having a regular coffee today, not a cappuccino. I'm usually a latte girl. What about you, Dennis? What are you drinking there? Coffee, cafecito?
Yes, I'm sorry, my internet cut out. These are all the new problems we have in the world. Yes, I'm drinking a Starbucks blonde espresso Nespresso machine that I have in my house.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice, nice. I like it. I like it. So, welcome everyone. Good morning. I see we have a number of people joining us. Um, so, Dennis, I have to say, is the reason why I am on Substack. We got to know each other last year, and he encouraged me to do a newsletter. And then I said to him, "Oh, I want to do it on Substack." And here I am, and now I'm doing the Substack lives, and it's been quite a journey. And I basically just having these conversations with people about data, AI, what it takes to bring it into organizations, and how it's changing lives, the future of work. And also, I think Dennis is just such a great expert of, people change, how to deal with that, leadership. And I just wanted to have this conversation with him this morning. Dennis?
Yes, let's do it. I love it. I love the AI, how AI is affecting our lives talks. Those are really great. In fact, the guy I was just consulting with, we were talking about how the technology, we need to be careful what we're consuming, right? All the time. Like you wake up, you decide I do a lot of mindset type work. And it's like when we wake up in the morning, we have a decision to make on it. We get to decide how our day is going to go. So we can wake up and we can, I have 3 Pomeranians. So when I wake up in the morning, I go and I walk downstairs and I sit on the kitchen floor and they all come up and we all hug for a few minutes. I get filled with oxytocin. It makes me happy. And then I go and I take them outside and hopefully they didn't poop on the floor. I have to pick up the poop, but it's like, that's how I start my morning. Or you could wake up and start watching politics and get yourself all full of fear and anger and sadness and emotional
Mm-hmm.
distress. And that's how your day goes. You have a choice every day. And I think AI has all of this on steroids. So it's awareness right now.
Yeah, I think that was I love that point because I know if I start my day out one way and the day flows that way, but if I started out a different way, it's just it may not doesn't turn out the same way. It's
No,
not.
people ask me, they're like, so how do we do it, Dennis? What are your like expert tips on how to make sure that you have a better day? And it's like it's a decision we make. It's a choice you make every day. And the example I do use is like a number of years ago, I was going through a heartache, and I was talking to my brother because when you're going through a heartache, which we've all been through, you don't like. There's a reason you break up, right? It's grief, right? And there's a reason you break up, but we don't think about the reason we broke up. We think about the nice times, the good sex, or like the sparkle in your partner's eyes, or something like that. That's what we think about, and we think about we're missing that. But that's not the reality of what's going on. And so when you're going through a heartache, your brain goes there. And I said to my brother, he's a really smart human being, I said, how do you stop those thoughts? How do you redirect those thoughts? And he goes, you just do it. You have to do it. First of all, you have to have the awareness that, oh, I'm thinking this negative thoughts and it's keeping me from achieving my dreams. And then you have to stop. You have to redirect to something that's going to help you get closer to your goals or dreams or visions or whatever. What do you want to do? That's what people say. You want to think and do on things you want, not things you don't want. People turn on
Mhm.
CNN and Fox News not to get an objective opinion of the other side, but to validate their anger. And then they carry that anger and emotion and distress and insecurity and fear and panic into their relationships, into their jobs. So that's a decision you make. It's like, do I want to be more angry, or do I want to go work on something that's going to help me build my dreams?
Yeah, I love that. I love that framing of it and everything. I find for myself, I go for like the days that I do my morning walk, and I actually a lot of times, sometimes I do it with music, but I do sometimes just turn it all off and just walk and have my thoughts, and I think that's a good thing actually to kind of clear my mind. I think I function differently, and then just for being always consumed with data and AI and tech all day, it's good to have that that quiet time for me. But like, tell me like what you've been thinking about, because I know you have been like writing a lot and being out there talking about AI and what it is doing with us, our minds, our thoughts, our work. Kind of.
Oh, well, I think the biggest, right, there's so much different types of directions, articles, experts, quote unquote,
Yeah.
on AI, gurus. But like, you know what it takes to be a guru? It takes decades of experience. AI has been around for like the way we know it for like 3 years. So the word guru isn't really applicable right now. But what I see the most, and we're all victims of it, me too, is like it's taking away our ability to do real critical thinking. And we all do it too. I mean, the idea of AI, as we know it, large language models for the most part, is to make our lives more efficient and easier. Like if you were to look, if anybody knows about my LinkedIn stuff, I have like a big LinkedIn presence. And years ago, before AI, some of those little posts I wrote, that if you were to take them all and condense them down, it's like one paragraph of writing. And sometimes those posts would take me like 2 hours to write
I
like
believe it.
the perfect paragraph, right? And decorate it with emojis and spacing, like all these things I used to do. And you could do that now in 20 seconds. And that's why we see all the AI slop, is because it's easy. The idea of it is not. We can't keep doing that though. The idea of it isn't just to paste whatever comes out into a post or an article or whatever you're doing. It was supposed to make our lives easier so we can go deeper, right?
Yes.
The washing machine, when the washing machine was invented, it was because usually in the old system of humanness, we would have like the women were washing clothes on a washboard. That's where the term washboard comes. Washboard sewing. There was a
Yeah.
washboard, and you washed the clothes, and then you hang them up, and it took hours. Like that was your activity for a day, to wash your family's clothes. Now you throw them in the washing machine, and the idea is that now I only have to put them in the washing machine, which takes 5 minutes. Now I'm free to do other things. And now that's how AI is supposed to be. It's like, oh, it made our lives more efficient, so we don't have to spend 8 hours doing this admin work. I could
Yes.
do all that in 10 minutes if I set things up right. And now I have 8 hours to go to a new level. But that's not what's happening. We're creating AI crap, pasting it, and then we go and doom scroll for 6 hours or do
Yeah, no,
something.
no, I can definitely see that, where then you get sucked into the social media and you need to block that out. I think that's something that we tell clients too, is that, AI, you just, it can take care of your admin tasks, but how can you like supercharge your business and do more, right? Do more, go deeper, deliver better service to your clients, right? Grow your revenue. Yes, there's the operational efficiencies, or even mitigate risk, right? There's just so much more you can do with it. But what I've seen, and I think you've hit the real nail on the head, is I think there's the differentiator that you can do with AI if you use it correctly is the critical thinking and having taste, right? Because having taste or having being an expert in your knowledge, you can use your critical thinking and your taste to zoom, to actually add that special layer, your secret sauce. And that is what I think a lot of people are missing is like, how do I go do that? And how do we go push people to take it to the next step?
Yeah, and it's constant learning and doing and implementing and growing to a new level. Like the person I was on the phone with before, he's like, "Oh, you have so much wisdom and expertise and all this stuff." And I mean, I don't like to like say that about myself, but the truth is like you know what you do, and to whatever level you do it, that's what you know. I mean, it might sound real generic to say this right now, but think about it. It's like I've been doing this online business stuff for over 20 years. So there's things you learned by doing it that you can't learn by watching a YouTube video. And you just have to start doing it. And if you start doing it in 20 years, you'll be able to talk this like on a deep level about it because you have that experience. So if
Yeah.
you're a 19-year-old life coach, not that there's like I commend you for making that choice and moving in that direction, but you don't have the experience, and you don't need also the 20 years of experience. You only need to be like a couple steps ahead than somebody behind you who wants what you have. So if you're 19 years old, life coach, like there's value in what you know. Maybe I don't know what you know. Like if you're coaching on how to play video games, like that's cool. But if there's somebody behind you who needs to learn what you know, that's great. So it just depends on like what you're trying to do in life, but spend a lot of time doing and learning and growing and communicating with people, and eventually you'll have the knowledge and the expertise to go really deep on things, and then that's where your value comes in, and that's where you can charge more, you can do more, you can build more, but it comes from doing. You have to become the person who can not just talk about these things, but implement them in life. And that comes from experience.
I love what you're saying right there, where the 19-year-old, and then you have to be a little bit farther ahead. I saw this recently with a client we're working with, a senior person. They were going through how the junior person, actually the analyst on his team, puts together this list of potential like target firms. And we said, okay, then what do you do with the list? Well, you don't just take the list blindly, right? Because we're going to transform it using AI to help with that process. He's like, I need to look over the list and review because I have knowledge on that industry and the new ones. And this is someone with 30 years experience, and no one's going to really replicate that knowledge and do that. That's his knowledge, his expertise that he built. But these juniors are learning, and by doing, they gain knowledge, right? And that's where I get concerned about people and where industries are going, that the junior people are going to get experience and be exposed to that so that they can develop those muscles as well.
Yeah, and it takes time. And I also think that like the junior people, they're more exposed to technology than us older people, forward. And it's like, I've been doing it a long time, but I was never a coding developer, back end technological person. So I have people on my team that do those things. And that's where you come in, and that's where we come in as consultants. As I was taught, have an expert in every area of your life. So it's like if I need to go to court, I need a lawyer. Mm-hmm. If I get sick, I need a doctor. Some doctors, we don't need all these meds and everything. But if I hate doing my taxes, I hate it. So I need an accountant to do my taxes every year, or I'm going to get in trouble. And so I'm not an AI expert, so I need to have people. I need to surround myself with those people, like the best leaders in the world, the CEOs, like a CEO, a real CEO, like of a big company. They talk to like big companies, like 6 or 8 people. That's it. They're surrounded by. They have like a board of advisors,
exactly,
or another C-suite, and then they talk to those people, and then those people talk down there. And they don't know everything. They just hire great people and build teams and that's how you build a big business, and that's how you build a small business. Like
Yes.
you need to know, you need to learn how your business works. Like usually when you start a business, it's because you're good at something. Like you have a skill or a craft or something like that. But there's a difference between doing your skill and your craft and then running a business. They're different things. And in fact, you only do, as a business owner, you only do your skill or your craft like 30% of the time. Then you have to learn how to manage people. You have to learn how to do accounting. You have to learn how to do AI and build systems. So the best, most successful businesses and business owners, they don't know how to do everything. They hire people to help them. Even solopreneurs, that word is
Yes.
misunderstood. Solopreneurs, for all intents and purposes, I'm a solopreneur, not an entrepreneur, because I don't have a huge staff of employees. I have freelancers. I have a couple of employees. So, but solopreneur doesn't do everything themselves. I'm pretty successful. I do a lot of business, but I don't do it all myself. I talk to them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you just brought up about the solopreneur and how much they're doing. And they have people, and then now AI can help them. But for any size company, but it is a little bit of a misnomer these days, right? I think of solopreneurs personally. I think you're an entrepreneur. I mean, in the day, you built a business, you've gone out on your own, right? That's very entrepreneurial.
Sure.
In my mind, and I commend people for it. But I also love what you said, where the people at the top and they delegate and they have systems, but then there's the people at the bottom. So when you go into work with people, the leaders and their companies about bringing in AI, you have to go from the top and the bottom up, right? Because there's a lot happening, and there's probably a lot of emotion, a lot of change, things going on. So, we take care of, yes, the technical and the data side, but we also, with kind of how we operate, we have to deal with the change management and getting buy-in, not just from the top, but the people who are doing the work and carrying it out so that they adopt AI, which I think is a big thing, that you could put AI in at any size organization, but it may not get adopted if you don't deal with the people aspect.
Yeah, the training. There's a lot that goes into bringing in new systems. That's why companies like Salesforce, like they have such a huge moat. It's a switching moat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the cost, like Salesforce, other CRMs like HubSpot, like all those, they have it's called a switching cost moat, because the cost to set up a CRM inside of a enterprise level company, or even like a small cap company, to set up a CRM or some sort of technology software system is massive. It costs millions of dollars. So the cost to switch to a new one, it's called a switching mode. The cost to switch
Mm-hmm.
is overwhelming. Even if it's hard and it doesn't work well, the cost, they stick it out because the cost to switch is too much. So you have to your point, you have to train everybody how to use the systems. Now it's all AI systems. So you have to have people and systems in place to teach people how to use the systems. And that's where you come in, right?
Yeah, but
The
I
training.
also find there's an emotional people element too for those people to
Sure.
adopt them, right? So you might be training them, but I think leaders have to create a space so people are comfortable in talking about it. And one of the things we find as we do workshops and things like that with employees, we uncover nuggets of how people are feeling, and they if they don't feel comfortable, they're not going to bring up certain ideas or opinions to make it better, or adopt it, is one of the things that we see.
Sure, yeah. Like being able, and most leaders, and I think more so now than it used to be, they have those communication skills, the emotional intelligence, the ability to read people and meet them where they're at, like eye level or emotionally capable. And you have to do that too, I guess, as a facilitator, bringing in AI and change. You have to do some of that work too. But, that's part of business. Like, I don't think the leaders of 30, 40 years ago had those capabilities, or even maybe 10 years ago. it's
Yeah.
more it's more part of it's more of a leadership requirement nowadays. The best leader I ever had, his name was Phil Lamb, and it was at Cisco Food Service like 25 years ago.
Okay.
And this the Cisco where I worked, I was a sales guy, and we it was like $600 million a year uh, house right in Denver, and he we had our laptop bags and all of our point of sale material and
Yeah.
our Franklin Covey planners like bursting at the seams, like our Blackberries, like all this shit that we had. And we were sweating and running around like all stressed out. And we would have these meetings, and Phil Lamb, I'd never forget it. Phil Lamb walks in and he has one little notebook that was like, I guess, 6 by 8 or however the measurements are in those little notebooks, and a pencil. And he walks in real composed. He was super lean and fit and like healthy. And he walks in, we're all sweating and panicking about, our clients and all these sales are doing. And he just walks in and he manages the whole Cisco sales force,
Wow.
$600 million. And he walks in and he puts his pencil down on his notebook and sits down, crosses his legs, and he's just real calm. That's how he approached every day. And it's part of what I teach too, about
Yes, it is.
everybody with their impossible to-do list of 30 things to do, and then none of them get done. So you move them to the next day and the next day, and all that does is cause more panic and stress, and nothing gets done. Whereas if you have just one or three things on your list with your pencil and your small little notebook, get those three things done. And at the end of the week, you'll have 21 things done as opposed to zero of the 30, and all the stress that comes with not getting your work done and advancing in your life and your business. And that comes from Phil Lamb, is where I originally learned that.
That's wonderful. Like you like learned that from a leader and you've taken that like all like throughout you. It's amazing how people can affect you in life and they don't even realize like what just their presence and how he did that and you took it in and then it's carried on with you. There are some really special leaders that I think we've all had like that. And I just think it's a priceless opportunity. We might not even
Well,
realize it.
it really is. Yeah. And then also to take that and be that person, right? Be that person. We're so attached to like all the things we need to do. And we there's almost like this urgency right now where if we don't feel stress and anxiety, that we're not doing a good job, that we're not working hard enough. And that's causing more problems than anything, right? It's actually causing physical illness. So it's like we don't need to behave that way. Now it's hard to do because we've been conditioned for decades to behave that way, especially now because with all the notifications and all the tabs and screens and everything open, we're like, if I don't have all that stuff going on right now, then I'm not working hard enough, and I'm a failure. So, but you don't. All you need is the pencil and the 6 by 8 or 8 by 6 by 10. I don't know how you measure that, but anyway, that one notebook and just a pencil. Get those things done.
You've simplified it, which I think is a key thing. And I think what's happening too is there's this FOMO going on, right? All this things coming out about AI. What's the next thing? And I have people who ask me like, well, what AI tools should I be looking at? And I've told them stop looking at all these tools, concentrate on one, focus on one until you cannot use it anymore or get out of it what you need, push it to the limit because the tools only get better. And it's not the tool, it's going back to the problem, what you're solving, what you're doing for your business, like what you're talking about, and simplifying it. I think, simplifying to the three things, simplifying how you attack the problem. It's this, some people are finally starting to get back to basics, but I think the AI swirl and chaos is still around. I think, with everything that's happened the last couple of months with OpenClaw, Claude Code, people are like, okay, what do I need to do next? And I'm like, okay, we can take a look at things, but step back and stay calm, because you're not going to get anywhere if you just keep chasing the mirror ball.
Yeah, and I love that topic, and that's called context switching. And it applies on a we're talking about AI, but it applies in our. I'll apply it here, and then I'll show you how it affects what you're talking about. Is there's a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and if you've not read that book, I recommend it. It's called Deep Work, and the reason that everybody is stuck and not making progress is because we keep switching. So that if you take a really high, I don't like using the word high level, but a person with high IQ or capability to focus on the signal, the best in the world at this is like people like Elon Musk, like somebody who could
Yes.
focus only on what he's doing. No noise in the background, nothing else. It's like if he's doing something, he's focused on it. It's been documented by a lot of other people. And if you take people like that, or take him out of the picture, scientists, doctors, biologists, lawyers, people that can open a book and focus on nothing but that book because they need to. Accountants are good at looking at numbers also. Those people have a maximum threshold of about 3, maybe 4 hours of deep work per day, of high level output per day. The rest of us normal people like me, 1 to 2 hours a day maximum. So that means that all these companies that are spending $100 million a month on rent to have everybody go into the office for 8 to 10 hours are wasting millions of dollars. Nobody on the planet has an 8-hour high level output. Nobody. It's literally impossible to have 8 hours of high level output. So what that means is when you wake up in the morning, the concept of sleeping and rest is that we're supposed to rest and wake up with a full battery. And so when you wake up, and nobody has a full battery anymore because we're all thinking about what we were doing last night and stressed out and blue screens and all this stuff. So when you wake up, if you have a full battery, we start burning it on Facebook or doom scrolling or watching politics or all these things. And all of a sudden you're burning your battery, you're reducing your charge and you have nothing left. And then you start working on the 30 things on your to-do list. And while you're doing that, it takes about 20 minutes to get focused. So what you want to do if you want to become really successful is reduce the amount of time it takes when you sit down to work and then start working. If you can get that down to nothing, to like I sit down and work and work, sit down to work and work. Most people take between 20 and 60 minutes to get focused. I'm sure you can relate. All of us.
Yeah.
Because now we have 20 tabs open. There's notifications on the phone, emails, texts, buzzing, and we never get focused. And that's called context switching. So if you do get focused, and let's say you can do it in 30 minutes. If you can get deep focus on something and work, as soon as the notification goes off, and even if you look at it for a half a second, it takes you another 20 minutes, on average 23 minutes to get refocused.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so turn everything. If you want to be successful and outdo your competitors, turn off all your notifications and focus on what you're doing and get that done. When you're done, go get some ice cream or do something else or reward yourself, but don't move until you get it done. Most of us come up to a hard thing. It's like, let's say we can get focused in a half hour, then we start working and something gets hard. So instead of figuring it out, I'm going to look at Instagram. I'm going to check my email. So that's called context switching. And at the end, every time you do that, our brain gets dopamine.
I didn't realize that it resets. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it feels like you got punched in the side of the head and you got nothing done. And then your partner's like, what do you want to eat? I don't know, anything. I can't even think right now. And you didn't even get anything done.
Yeah.
So if you want to get done, if you want to get ahead of your competitors, finish your job, right? It's called task completion. If you want to win, complete your task. And the more you do that, then you start completing harder tasks and you become successful. And now to apply this to what we're talking about with AI, every day, there's a new tool. And then there's a new guru talking about the new tool. And you're like, I have to have that or I'm going to fail and my business is going bankrupt and I'm going to get divorced. So you switch tools and you don't have to go in deep on any of them. So what I would say is pick 1 to 3 tools and go deep. And if you're not getting your goals accomplished with that, look for another solution, find it, and like you can. You know why AI LLMs are so great? You can ask the LLM what LLM you need. What do I need to do to figure this out? And then it'll tell you exactly what to do, and then do that and focus on only that. Okay.
I love that. And what I'm going to add to that is what I tell people is if you're going to try out a tool, just get the monthly subscription and time box yourself for like 30 days to use the tool and then decide whether you're going to continue with it or not, because you could end up taking the experimentation stage forever and go down this rabbit hole. So cut your losses, just like any experimentation or whatnot. You got to experiment, you got to give a little bit of time, but then move on to the next one. So you got to kind of iterate and go forward and learn with that, which is what I like how you're putting it, like 1 to 3, get your feet wet. But I'm big into time boxing experimentation, and then once you're time boxed, then you move on. Also, having what does success look like to use that tool? Whether you're a small business, bigger business, what is your goal or whatnot, and then you can objectively, look at it and say, did that succeed or not? Right?
Yeah, that's it, and figure it out. It's like for just like most people, I'm a creator. I'm a content creator. At the end of the day, like that's how I built my little empire, by being a content creator. And then I used to write everything myself and do all the everything. It took me a lot of work to get to where I am. And then ChatGPT came, and that was 2023, right? 3 years ago. And I was like, sweet. And I would just be like, here, rewrite this post or write a post about this. And it was done. And then that's amazing. And then I started, and I was attached to that for a couple of years. And then one of my coaches was like, you have to use Gemini. And I was like, yeah. So I have, because my whole business runs on Google Workspace. Mm-hmm. So I have the whole G Suite of everything, and I use like 15 Google apps all day. Mm-hmm. And I have AI strategists. So I have an AI Gemini strategist, therapist. I have a business strategist for each one of my businesses. I have a strategist for some of my clients, so I can deal with them. I have health. I have a health strategist, AI strategist that I speak with almost every day. I check in with a lot of these things. But 3 months ago, or 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, it wasn't very long ago, I started playing with Claude, and I'm like, I can't believe I was using Gemini so long. Claude is like, so in terms of at least content creation and finding facts and doing research, like all these things. So now I'm on Claude, but I'm going deep into it. I know that there's other tools. I'm not a developer. I'm a business guy and a content creator. And I have a great team of people that does a lot of the things. But I stick with, right now, I'm using Claude. I'm sure in 6 months or a year from now, there's going to be something I'm going to go, oh, I can't believe I was using Claude for that. Like, there's going to be something better coming along. But it's impossible to do all of these at the same time unless you are a developer. If you are, then it's your job to understand all these tools. If it's not, pick 1 to 3 and use them. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too. I mean, our CTO, he plays with everything, and he should.
He's a CTO. That's his job.
Yeah, he's a CTO. Yeah. It's his job. Myself and others, I have, work with OpenAI, I work with a bit with Claude, more going down that. I do a bit on Perplexity because of like financial research and the realm I'm in. So I use like some different tools there, but I keep it pretty scoped. One of my things, though, I still go back to Google and Gemini for. I do like Nano Banana for. Yeah, Nano is good. I'm a big Nano Banana fan. But we do have a question here, though, from Michael. How long did it take for you to learn Claude?
Me?
Yeah, I think that's you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm still mostly using it for research and for content creation. I know that I'm not using like Claude Code. I don't claim to be an AI guru at all. I don't know how to do those things. I have a team that does the things we need, but I don't. I did take. Did attend a couple master classes where to try to learn the code and everything it can do. Like I know, like there's a couple of things I would take, and I know I wouldn't have to take too long to learn because it's set up really well. It would be nice to be able to use. I know there's prompts that you can do to create like carousels in like 10 seconds.
Mhm.
I know that there's ways to set up. You can have HTML. Like sometimes I'll do a prompt. Like yesterday, we do financial analysis for big companies, and I did one for BMW yesterday. A complete, thorough financial analysis. We run before we invest in companies. We run it through like 300 questions, and we find out. We study the history to where it is today. And I was like, because all these AIs are designed to answer your question in 30 seconds. And it was taking like 5 to 10 minutes. And I was like, what is it doing? I all I wanted was like a text document. And it made this HTML, basically like a website. I could have published this as a website when it was done.
Yes.
Like I could show you the screen actually. I could probably pull it up. And if you wanted to see it, it made
Yeah.
this
Why
it
not?
made yeah, here, I can show it to you. I would have to pull up Claude. So I can keep talking while I'm doing this. You won't believe it. It was insane. I was like, uh, I was
One of the
like,
things, so one of the things though, I do tell people with all this though, and when it comes to financial analysis and just with me and my financial services hat, make sure you check the numbers. Make sure it's verified then trust. So having auditability back to the numbers, the source, where they're coming from, so that if you're making any investment or anything you're doing.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, wait. So is this it? So I want to make sure I get, oh, wait, is this a doc? Because I asked them, they did this whole HTML thing, and you could have published it as a website. I mean, it was decorated, it was beautiful. And I was like, I just wanted a doc. Like, I just wanted a text. But this is where we are now. It's like web developers. This is what AI did. It basically rendered all admin tasks, web developers, logo designers, all these things. It rendered them and information. Rendered everything as a commodity. It commoditized everything. So I want to try to find I can't find the HTML part. I was going to show you, or maybe you know better than me. Let's see if I could. Am I sharing my screen?
You can share.
Yeah, right. So here, maybe you could find it. So I have the BMW, the customation. I mean, it is long. It's a very thorough project. So, because you need to
exactly.
right, but the HTML, I can't find where it is. The financial analysis. Maybe it'll be here. Files. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Customization request.
I don't know where is this the project request?
It says analysis of companies, 300 questions and data at the top.
Right, but the HTML file isn't there. Let's see if I can find the HTML. Let's check this one out. See what it says. Do this for BMW. Oh, viewed. No, they viewed. I don't want to. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Look at this. I was like, why is this taking so long? It's because look at this. It took the information. All I wanted was a doc, and it printed this report. This report, like I want people to understand this because we've been studying companies for years. This would have taken like a month, at least a month to do all of this research, or months, and put it into this report that you could put this up. I could buy like a domain like BMW Financial Analysis 2026.com, and I could publish this as a website. Look at it just as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a perfect website, but look at that. I mean, that's insane.
It's a good way there. And then the good thing is what you can then do is, make sure like the numbers all tie out, right, to the
Yes, and of course,
sources, and then you basically have, a HTML research report that you can
yeah,
put up and distribute. Um, the other thing is, when you're in like the content or research distribution game, you always want to have different pieces or ways to distribute your content and formats, and having it there. And then you could also make it like an interactive site, which is what people would want, right? To dig into those numbers and things. Like I could just see like you could blow it out some more with the
and that's
numbers
what
and
people are doing, and that's
yeah,
why. So what AI is doing, and it killed the coaching industry, right? Because like I even told you, I have like 20. I can show you my Gemini. Do you want to see my Gemini too? I could show you because since it's an AI podcast, you can see how like I like to I'm fairly successful. I'm showing you how I operate my
yeah.
businesses. And here I was telling you about my gems, the way I have stuff set up. This is Google, this is Gemini. So inside of here, I have one for Substack notes, and then I have one of my clients, he's a surgeon. And so I have
Mhm.
two different ones for him. I have transcripts that I get from the videos and podcasts and things that I do. Um, I wrote a prompt that helps rewrite my articles as a human voice, my financial analysis stuff, uh, a AI coach. I have an AI coach to teach me how to use AI, right? On here. Um, quizzes and assessments if I'm doing things like that. Like these are what I do. We also have a company. I live in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and we have a real estate company too that we do remotely. So
Mhm.
I have a strategist for that, and so I have all the I have a neuroscience gem. I have all these consultants basically. So what AI did, it pretty much rendered consulting or coaching and consulting uh, commodities. Like it took these things that I used to be able to charge, five figures for. Now you could find out on AI. Now there's still a level of expertise I have, and it helps
Yeah.
to have a human person consulting with you. But you can get started on AI for sure.
Oh,
So
100%. I agree. And the thing is what I tell people is, just get started, start somewhere, and you can progress. But I think the other thing, what you're showing too, is though, with all those strategists, whether you're small or a larger company, you're having a human with a machine workforce, right? And you want to keep the human in the center still. It's not just all the machine. Some people may debate that, but I really think the human in the center. Some people call it human in the loop, but I like a human centric approach because I think it's still very much needed. We're not there yet, but there isn't a human involved.
I
Um,
love that. That's really great. The human in the center, the human centric. I mean that term itself, but the way you related it there was really nice. I mean, and we really need to. In fact, that is what, and I talk about this every day. Is like 20 years ago, and I've talked about it with you. 20 years ago, what set you apart was having some sort of technology, like a website, even
mhm.
email. Like if you had email 20 years ago, like all these things were set you apart as a reputable business. And now what sets you apart is having a human presence, is having humanness inside of your tech business is what's
Yes.
going to set you apart. So we've come full circle. And I think that that's what's going to separate businesses moving forward is the ones, not the ones who are enabled with tech, because they all are. If you're not enabled with tech, you can't keep up. So
Yes.
you have to have tech in your business. But the ones who have humans, because now tech is a commodity. It used to be humanness was a commodity. So now
It's
we're
switched.
completely flipped. We're
Yeah.
completely switched. So
Exactly.
and we need humans want contact with other humans. And so that's the value now. And I think that's what's going to separate like a lot of the creators when you see on any social media, LinkedIn, Substack, or wherever, they hide behind the content. But if you could like do what we're doing right now and look your people in the eye, that's
Mhm.
your advantage. They're going to be like, wow, you actually can walk your talk. That's the advantage.
Oh, I see where you're going with that, and I love that because there is somebody behind it. They're real, right? This is the humanity, the person behind it. I really do like that because I'm really convinced that it is the human relationships and community that you build that is going to set people apart with their expertise and their connections and relationships than just someone sitting behind a screen like the Wizard of Oz.
That's it. Because anybody, like, do you know how hard it is to be a real CEO? Like, it's there's very few like real CEOs in the world compared to the population of the world. It's like an extremely small number. But now you turn on LinkedIn and everybody's, I'm a CEO. And it's like, a CEO of what? So you can say you're anything. Oh, I have like all these kids, these 24-year-old kids with, multiple 8-figure exits to companies. It's like, how'd you do that? It's either they're extreme outliers, which is highly unlikely, or they're lying. And so if you can get on a camera and actually like talk about what you write about, that's all you need to do now. Because everybody else is,
Yeah.
you can say, I'm a CEO, I have a 9-figure or a billion-dollar company, tech company. Like there's very few of those.
I
But
also what I like.
there's very few of those, but they all happen to be on my feed on
Yeah.
Substack,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're
Like,
right. They're all clogging it up. I like what you just said, like anybody could really write, and not everybody can walk the talk. But I also find though, yes, we can use AI to help write these articles, but I know when I write, or I'm working with my AI tools, I actually debate and go back and forth. I'm very, I do a lot of research and whatnot. Someone like John Bruton, he does a ton of research, and I think that shows in like people who are trying to do more thought leadership, like yourself, like myself. And then those thought leaders can come out and have a conversation like this. The others, they're just clogging it up. They can't really do that. They can't really put out the thought leadership pieces or have these conversations. That's my take.
right, and
Uh,
that's why I say like these Substack lives or any real video podcast appearances, get on as many of those as possible, and you're going to make an impact. And, because one of the biggest blockages have in success that most people are having in success now is unreasonable expectations. There's all of us, every single one of us, we're a dime a dozen. You know how many coaches, consultants, or experts in
mhm.
AI or whatever there are. There's millions. We're a dime a dozen. So the best defense against that is a good personal brand. Personal brand is more important than it's ever been. Or branding. The word personal brand gets thrown around a lot, but it's not just about like a creative logo. Like I've been sober 23 years. On April 8th, it'll be 23 years in a couple weeks. I talk about that openly. It's part of my brand. Like I've gotten huge contracts with people because of my sobriety. Like there's other people that do branding and marketing or emotional intelligence or critical thinking. Like I'm a critical thinking partner for some of these leaders that you hear about. And I've gotten big contracts with people just because I've been sober. So they can choose anybody they want, but I connected with them on a personal level because of my personal brand, because of my sobriety. I know your story. If you talk about your cancer journey, you're
Mhm.
gonna there's gonna be some woman who has breast cancer who's like scared to death, but she needs to have a consultant for
Yeah.
AI. She's gonna hire you as opposed to the other millions because she connected with you on that front. That's what a personal brand is. So I recommend be as human as possible. Put yourself out there. You're going to connect with people when you least expect it, and
Yes.
in the least expected ways. But you have
You
to
are
keep
so
doing it.
right.
Yeah.
You are so right. And it's taken me time to like kind of embrace that. But when I know that I've connected with some other people because of that. who are involved in like breast cancer awareness and things like that. And then it also just develops a relationship, and you never know where that's going to lead. And it's it's things like, I think though, yeah, you get those of us that have come from corporate and didn't do as much of this. You just got to get comfortable with it. It's like a muscle, and you just start to work on it, and it's a process. And exactly.
It takes
So
time. Like everything we do because we were conditioned or trained to do. Like brushing your teeth, you were trained to brush your teeth. Like when you were 3 years old, and you're like, that's weird. And now it's just like you just brush your teeth. You're because after decades of conditioning yourself to do that, it's the same thing with success. Like you have to condition yourself to become successful in whatever it is you do at a really high level, and then people start reaching out to you because they trust you. And if you're on shows like this and you can back up what you're writing about, that makes all the difference.
I think that is like such a good note about the trust factor. And I think we talk about it in AI, and we talk about it in our personal brand. And I think that's a really good thing, like to, recommend for people. We have a couple more minutes before we kind of like need to wrap up. But Dennis, is there anything that you want to like share with people, like a takeaway from today and our conversation, to what they get out of it? Because I just always feel like you're just like a font of just like really great information and what to do and guidance for folks.
Yeah, I mean, focus. I'm so big on focus. I've talked with you about it and with everybody. I've done shows about it. It's like we talked about it earlier, the deep work. Like read that book, Deep Work, and really
Yeah.
understand. Like our focus is so fragmented, and it's not even our fault, right? All these tools, like the phones, the devices, the notifications, those are all tripping dopamine off in our brain. They know that. It's all science. So we're actually physically addicted to the devices, whether it's on your desktop, your phone, or whatever you're looking at. It's designed to hijack our attention because then they sell ads and make money. It's all marketing. So if you're not aware of that, you're going to continue to be sucked into it, and then you're not making progress on whatever your goals and dreams are. So focus. What I would do if you're stuck right now and you're not getting where you want to go, what I would do is read that book, Deep Work, and I would learn how to focus and learn how. Like I'm a pretty successful dude. I haven't had notifications on my phone in 4 years. None. No, nothing. It comes through on my phone if it's important. Like I check my email when I need to, which is all trash. Like I used to get in a fight with my ex years ago. She had like 20, she was a corporate executive, VP, everything, tech companies, but she had 20,000 emails in her inbox. And I used to try to keep mine clean. And it's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. Find other ways to communicate with your clients or people of importance. I use WhatsApp mostly. And if it, I don't even look at my email anymore. I mean, I get so much shit in there. I used to, because she had 20,000 emails, and I used to like, I'm like, how can you do that? And I would yell. We were getting fights about it actually. And now it's like, I think I have like 10,000. And I did an experiment. I deleted my whole inbox. There was like 10,000 messages. And within, I think it was 30 days, there was like 3,000 emails in my inbox. And so I don't even check anymore. Stop doing that. Like if your goal, I did this with you and some other clients, is like, or with all my clients, to find your goal and your vision. And then you examine all throughout the day what you're doing right now. So if my goal is this, is what I'm doing right now going to get me to my goal? If it is, keep doing that. And if it's not, then stop doing that. That's
Yeah.
it.
Love
And
it.
do something else that's going to help you get to your goal. And so if you have to learn how to focus right now, otherwise your attention is being hijacked all day long. Learn how to
I think
focus. That's your number one thing that I would focus on right now is focus.
I love it. I love it. I think it's needed, but for everyone, and we all need to do it, and we all need to probably improve on it. But it's the only way we're going to get to where we want to go, and I love that. And like it's simple piece of advice, and we all can apply it. So I think this is wonderful. Well, Dennis, it has been a pleasure as always, and I want to wish you thank you for being on, and I want to have us get together again sometime soon.
Sure.
And have a great weekend, you and Cece, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great. Bye, everybody. Thank you,
Bye,
Maribeth.
everyone. Thank